Hello there, guys. William the Thomas Fan 7532 here, and this is my first ever top 10 list video. Today, I will be making my top 10 favorite Thomas and Friends episodes of season 1. Well then, so here, guys, there are 26 Thomas and Friends season 1 episodes in total. There are 10 that are my favorite and 16 that are decent. So anyways, without further ado, let's begin my top 10 favorite episodes of Season 1. Number 10, Thomas Goes Fishing. This episode looks really decent and really perfect. And the reason why this episode is my 10th favorite is because when Thomas told the engines he wanted to fish, they said, "Engines don't go fishing." And meanwhile, when his driver and fireman got some river from the river water, Thomas, after that, began to feel a pain in his boiler, and that was because there was too much steam. So after that, he went to go see Sir Topham Hatt and the inspector, and then and there was fish in it. And when I realized that, I remember laughing at it. And at the end, Sir Topham Hatt told Thomas not to fish. And that's the reason why this episode is my 10th favorite. Number 9, The Flying Kipper. This episode looks really perfect because I really like the flying kipper that Henry has been pulling in the episode. Because at the nighttime, it was snow. There was snow everywhere at night. And I love how well Henry pulled the flying kipper. I love the theme in it. And I really liked the crash in it. It was really spectacular. Like, in the brake van of the train Henry crashed through, the fireman was drinking cocoa in there. It was really funny. And I really liked that Henry got a new shape in that. His new shape looked really better than his old shape, even though I liked his old shape. And that is why this episode is my 9th favorite. Number 8, Tenders and Turntables. This episode looks really great in my opinion. Why? Well, because at the beginning of the episode, I really liked that Henry and Gordon were beginning to miss Thomas. But you know what made me laughing so hard? I laughed so hard when James was spinning around on the turntable like a top. When I saw that got me laughing so hard. And I liked in the part where Thomas told Gordon to scrap his tender and have a nice bunker. That was the funniest. And that is why this episode is my 8th favorite. Number 7, Down the Mine. This episode looks really perfect. Because I really like at the beginning, Thomas has been teasing Gordon about falling in a dirty ditch, and it was ditch water. And and the part where he went down the mine, he bumped into cars and he passed the board that says, "Danger engines, do not pass this board." Correct me if I'm wrong. I liked the part where Thomas fell down the mine. It was pretty funny, a little bit, in my opinion. And I really liked that Gordon came to his rescue, and they became friends in the end. And that is why this episode is my 7th favorite. Number 6, Terrence the Tractor. This episode looks really nice, in my opinion. The reason why is because at the beginning, I liked that Terrence was introduced in that episode. But the only part I didn't like is that when Thomas teased Terrence about his wheels, his caterpillar wheels, like he said this. After that, Thomas had to get his snowplow fitted, and when he had his snowplow fitted, he shook it and banged it, and it was damaged that they had to take it off. And back then, he got stuck in a big snowdrift, and he had to wait for help. And it was Terrence who came to his rescue. And then at the end of the episode, Thomas learned his lesson to always wear his snowplow. And that's why this episode is my 6th favorite. Number 5, James in a Mess. This episode looks really kind of a blast to me, in my opinion. Why? Well, it's because I really like at the beginning. James was saying what dirty objects. It's kind of funny, a bit. And when he had a runaway crash, he crashed into some tar tankers. And it was a really sticky situation, and he got covered in tar. It was a pretty good crash, in my opinion. And at the end, yeah. And that's why this episode is my 5th favorite. Number 4, Thomas's Christmas Party. This looks like a lovely Christmas episode to watch on Christmas. Why? Because it looks like it's a really nice Christmas episode at the beginning. I really love that they were singing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." It was a really lovely thing to hear. And I love that when Mrs. Kindly was in trouble at her house, they went to rescue. Thomas, Percy, and Toby and Terence came to rescue her. And that is why this episode is a lovely, jolly episode and my 4th favorite. Number 3, Whistles and Sneezes. This episode was really, really, really awesome. Because I really love that Gordon has been blowing his whistle really hilariously. I remembered laughing at it when I was a little kid. It was too funny, and it was really awesome to watch. And as well with Henry, well, some boys were throwing stones at him, but not at him, but at the express coach's windows. And to get revenge on the boys, Henry blew ashes on them. It's by sneezing on them. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And that is why this episode is my 3rd favorite. Number 2, Trouble in the Shed. This episode is really nice and perfect. I really like that there was a new engine introduced. Well, he was a new engine in this season, but not a new engine anymore. Why? Well, because at the beginning, James, Gordon, and Henry were going on strike, which that wasn't very nice, but as for Edward, he was planning to get a new engine with Sir Topham Hatt. And in the sheds, there was a little green engine named Percy that Sir Topham Hatt called him. And it's really, really nice to see. And that's why this episode is my 2nd favorite. And my number 1 favorite season 1 episode is Thomas and Bertie's Great Race. This episode is amazing, fantastic, brilliant, terrific, and outstanding. Want to know why? Well, because I really love the race between Thomas and Bertie. It's really amazing that they get to race with each other. And I'm really proud that Thomas won, my favorite engine, my favorite character from the show. Yeah, it was a really, really awesome racing blast. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why this episode is my number 1 favorite season 1 episode. So, yep, that is my top 10 favorite season 1 episodes of Thomas and Friends. If you have any favorite Thomas and Friends season 1 episodes, leave me know in the comments section below. And if you want me to do my top 10 favorite season 2, I'll do that in the future. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, guys!